Okay, let's dive right into a grand adventure today. Did you know that you are completely made up of magic? Well, okay, maybe not fairy tale magic, but science magic. Inside you, inside your pet dog, and even inside those big tall trees outside, there is a secret, tiny city. And this city, it's working day and night to keep us running, jumping, and playing. So get ready, because we're about to shrink down and explore the most absolutely amazing secret world. But wait, we actually have a tiny problem. You see, our human eyes are great for seeing big things, like a bouncing soccer ball or a giant gray elephant, but they can really only see things that are bigger than zero point 0.1 millimeters. And wow, that is super, super tiny. So to see our secret city, we're going to need some serious help. Enter the microscope. It's kind of like a magical shrinking machine. When we look through its glass lenses, it takes things that are totally invisible to our everyday eyes and makes them look huge. So, I've got a really big question for you. Have you ever wondered what you're actually made of? Like, if you look at your arm right now, you see skin. But what is your skin made of? What are your bones made of? Imagine we're stepping into our magical shrinking machine right this very second. Hold on tight. We're going to shrink down, down, down until we're the size of a tiny nanometer. Whoosh! Just like that, we're micro-explorers, ready to discover the true building blocks of life. Now you might be wondering, just how tiny are we right now? Well, think of a really tall human. Now imagine shrinking all the way down to a tiny grain of sand at the beach. Guess what? We have to shrink way, way, way smaller than that single grain of sand just to find what we're looking for, a cell. A cell is the tiny block that builds absolutely everything alive. It is so incredibly small that literally thousands of them could fit right on the sharp tip of a pencil. Now, long, long ago, before we had all these cool modern tools we use today, some very smart scientists looked through early microscopes at plants and animals. They were like the very first micro-explorers. Explorers with names like Matthias, Theodore, and Rudolph, and they made a massive discovery. They found out that absolutely every living plant and animal is built out of these tiny cells. And they discovered a super important rule too. New cells can only come from older cells. It's like a family of cells passing down the magic of life. But hey, not all of these cell cities look exactly the same, right? Some are very simple cells called prokaryotic cells. Think of these kind of like a tiny simple campsite. They're little bacteria, and honestly, they don't even have a special boss's office. Then there are fancy cells called eukaryotic cells. These are the cells inside you and me. They are like giant, bustling cities with lots and lots of rooms, and they have a very special big office right in the middle just for the boss. So, every great city needs a protective wall to keep it safe, right? Well, our cell city has something called a cell membrane. But this isn't a hard brick wall. No way! It wiggles and waves. It's a smart, squishy door made of fats and proteins. Scientists actually call it the fluid mosaic model because it wiggles around like a little jelly wave. This smart, squishy door is amazing. It checks everyone who knocks. It lets friendly, yummy things like food and water inside, and it completely locks out the bad things. Okay, micro-explorers, it's time for a brain puzzle. I want you to put your thinking caps on. Imagine we take a regular, crunchy piece of potato, which is made of thousands of little cell cities. What do you think happens if we drop one potato piece into plain, normal water, and then we drop another potato piece into a bath full of super, super salty water? How will the smart, squishy doors on those potato cells react? Let's just think about it for a second. Got your guess? Okay, so it's all because of this really cool magic trick called osmosis. When the potato sits in plain water, the cell's smart doors open right up, the potato drinks all the water, and it swells up to become nice, chubby, and crunchy. But oh boy, the salt water is completely different. The salt outside pulls the water right out of the cell, so the potato loses its water through those squishy doors and shrinks down to become totally limp and wrinkly, just like a little raisin. You know, have you ever noticed how plants stay standing straight up, even when the wind is just howling and the rain pours down? Well, since plants don't have legs to walk inside a house when it storms, their cells need some extra armor. So right outside their smart, squishy doors, plant cells build an extra tough, rigid shield called a cell wall. This strong wall helps the plant stay strong, stand up straight, and literally not blow away in the wind. Animal cells like ours don't have this simply because we can just run inside. All right, let's step right through those smart doors and actually go inside the city. Wow, look at that. Everything is floating in a squishy, wobbly jelly called cytoplasm. Watch how busy it is in here. First, we see the nucleus. That's the big boss's office where all the instructions are kept safe. And over there, we have the mitochondria.
Those are the sparkling power plants giving the city all its energy to play. Watch out for the lysosomes. Those are the little cleanup garbage trucks eating up the waste. And see those folded ribbons over there? That's the Golgi and the ER, the packing factories boxing up all the important packages.
Wait a second. That actually brings up a really crazy question. We just said the nucleus is the big boss's office that holds all the instructions. But do you think any cell can actually survive without a boss? I mean, it sounds totally impossible, right? Without a boss, who tells the city what to do? Take a wild guess. Are there any rebel cells in our bodies that just kick the boss completely out?
Believe it or not, the answer is yes. Our very own red blood cells actually kick the boss right out. They do this so they have extra room to carry giant backpacks full of fresh oxygen for the body. They're like tiny heroes. Now, what about plants? Plant cities have a special superpower that animal cells definitely don't have. They have magic green solar panels called chloroplasts. These green machines grab sunshine right out of the sky and turn it into yummy food. We definitely cannot do that.
Okay, so here is a super tricky puzzle. Even older kids argue about this one. We know plant leaves have those green solar panels to catch sunshine. But what about the plant's roots? Do the roots hiding deep under the dirt have those green food makers too? Think really hard about where roots live. Would a solar panel work well down there in the dark dirt?
The answer is no. I mean, think about it. Roots live underground where it is completely dark. Cells are very, very smart. They only pack exactly what they need. Since there's absolutely no sunshine underground, roots don't bother bringing green sun catchers at all. Now let's learn how cells make more cells. It's exactly like a tiny copying machine. When you get a scraped knee, your cells do a trick called mitosis. They make an exact clone, a perfect copy of themselves to fix your boo-boo. But when a mom and dad make a brand new baby, cells use meiosis. That's a special halving trick that mixes things up to make someone completely unique.
So, imagine you scrape your elbow while falling off your bike. Ouch, right? What would happen if your skin cells got totally confused and tried to fix that cut using meiosis, the baby-making trick, instead of mitosis? Can you imagine what your elbow would look like if it used the wrong trick? If your skin used meiosis, those new cells would only have half the instructions. Your healed elbow wouldn't know how to be normal skin at all. It would just be a confusing, scrambled mess. That's exactly why cells follow strict rules. And speaking of rules, cells have a golden rule called contact inhibition. This means when cells are growing and copying, the exact moment they bump shoulders with their neighbor cell, they say, "Excuse me," and they just stop growing. If cells ever forget this golden rule and just keep growing and growing, they bunch up into a messy, crowded lump called a tumor.
Okay, our final brain puzzle for today is absolutely amazing. Seriously, when you were a tiny baby growing inside your mommy's tummy, your hands actually started out looking exactly like a duck's webbed foot. But look at your hands right now. You have separate fingers to pick up and hold all your toys. How did the skin between your fingers go away? Why aren't we all swimming around with duck hands today?
Well, it's all because of this beautiful secret called programmed cell death. The cells between your fingers knew that you needed to hold things, so they gracefully sacrificed themselves and disappeared just to give you separate fingers. These tiny cell cities are just so smart. So if we look back at absolutely everything we've discovered, there are 3 big rules of the cell theory. First, every single living thing is made of cells. Second, cells are the tiny building blocks of life. And third, new cells only ever come from older cells sharing the magic.
Wow, we have really uncovered so much in our explainer adventure today. We all have billions of tiny jelly cities inside us, with smart squishy doors, busy power plants, and wonderful rules that keep us alive and well. So I want to leave you with this really big question. Now that you know how incredibly hard your amazing tiny cell city works for you, how are you going to help it stay healthy today? Maybe by eating a yummy crunchy apple? Or maybe getting a really great night's sleep? Remember, you take care of your tiny city, and it will definitely take care of you. Keep exploring.